Hello, my fellow YouTubers and TikTokers and anybody who gives a darn. This is Roy back again. Let's talk about, in the old Model T Fords in 1914, they had a thing called the Buzz Box. And their core was made out of lamination. And this is the core and what it was wrapped in. So I broke open the core and all these little steel rods are in there. So I decided to let Ed's wheel have a hold of them. There's a couple on the floor that I dropped. And I said, let me check to see if my north, where I have it written down, let's check the room. See if I'm correct on where my north and true north and south is. So I wrote the north there. Then I wrote the south there, and then I wrote the east there, and then I wrote the west there. And here I took one of the rods and I ran a magnet across it and magnetized it. And this red point here is facing north, and the blue is facing south. Now the negative side is facing south and the positive side is facing north. So I have perfect orientation because this has been sitting here for probably 10 minutes. So if you look, my north is written. Right there. So my north is right there at that point. And if you look at this, it sways a little bit. I'm sure it settles like when we first started. So my north is a little bit more that way. This is the Earth's magnetic field we're looking at. And then on the blue side here, which the compass here will read north, and here the compass will read south. So the piece of steel here will show me true positioning, which I've never done before. True Ed Leedskalnin. A book in every home. He's working on his PMH, and there's a lot in there about the PMH, and something I guess I should kind of break out for you guys as a news flash. I had this book on Ed Leedskalnin. And I had it probably, 8 years. And if you look at the anchor on it, that to me represents the in and the out of the current opposed upon us in this double hook. And the cover of this book, How to Read. After more than a half a century of silence that is broken, how to read his writings. The Unauthorized Guide to Decoding Ed Leedskalnin's Works, EDL, by Ed. And it goes into Enigma stuff. And I really do like it. And there was a couple things on here that when you get into what Ed Leedskalnin's books, the minerals, vegetables, and animal life, which I have, magnetic current, and he really has a different look and ties things together that to me really is worth talking about. And one thing I want to show you before we close this video off is that the property is laid out like a circuit board, and this this book, I kind of thought of that in the beginning, that there was a circuit board, edge wheel, and you can see the bindings on the chains, and you can see the highlighted flow in the wires, capacitors, glass bottles, the upper chain, the hoist, the tie side there it is there. There's the wheel up top, the split mirror image of the hoist. And then we get into the golden rectangle and the golden spiral. Then we'll get in the golden triangle and the golden spiral. And then he gets into stuff, but there's one section, not a section, but something caught my eye. That's the hoist on the top. That's what's written on the hoist. Everything's broken down in Greek alphabet. But he shows this one thing that caught my eye, that I thought that it was a reference to where I believe that all the sculptures were laid out as a circuit board. And I'm going to find that circuit board for you. Hold on. It's funny how I can get to it anytime I want. I'll be faster than one of these channels. Just give me a second, guys. Quick 7 minutes. I get it. Booking every home. Dying over here. This is insane. I'm finding this thing right now, without a doubt. Torturing you guys. I'll go page to page if I have to. There it is. Shazam. It's an open circuit. Edge quarters is right here. Here's the Florida table. Here's the Chamber of Commerce up here with all its old art, from all his stuff from the first location is on this wall. It's a different coral versus the rest of the walls. It's all that is from this location, and the old location carried all the bathtub and all that stuff. The Chamber of Commerce. There's your Florida table. Then he has these rocking chairs in place, and this is the biggest wall right here. This wall section is one piece. It's about 12 feet tall, 12 feet wide, 3 feet deep, 2.5 to 3 feet deep. Stood up on its own place. Bam. But it's a circuit board to me. I had never really thought of it I thought of it, the whole place being a circuit board, but I never really looked at it in a diagram like when I seen this. And now I got to start processing where your resistors are, where your transistors are, where's your conductors. I already know in here is the shop, is the living quarters, his basement that nobody talks about. Over here is the well in relation to water. You had, I looked above the line of the walls, and I seen hooks for wires, and wires ran around. He put wires across the whole property above the wall. He was short. and these steel wires were in line with the east, west, north, and south positioning. I just bumped into that, but it'll arrest itself. This is pretty cool for you guys to find your own, geological magnetic field in your shop. It is awesome to know that when you're in here, even when you sleep in bed, your position and where your head and feet are does matter. If I look at this in relationship of north and south, here's head's quarters, okay? And here's north. And these steps right here, you come up. This ain't accurate. That's the downstairs door. Yes, but the upstairs is living quarters. The steps are right here, okay? Along this wall. So he's facing north and south this way with his building. Oh, by the way, this building started from the 2 foot wide by 6 feet long, 2 feet deep. He put all his tools there the first couple hours he was there. When the gentleman came to pick him up, bring him back home, he had a ladder on there. He went to the local hardware store. He put chains and bolted the screwed eye hooks into the concrete or into the coil, and he pre-drilled and then screwed them in, and then he locked down his tools. So that's where he started his. Right here is his first quarry. This whole section coming off of his basement of his location. Nobody talks about a basement, but I know there is. I poured water underneath his machine down at the bottom here, and there's a hole with a gear. I got a pulley, he's got a gear, and there's a hole down there. So I poured water and nothing happened to it. After about a minute, the water disappeared. I poured water in there and it kept taking the whole water. So I know there's a basement in there. So anyway, back to where Ed's feet are when he sleeps. So when I come up into Ed's upper second floor, you're coming this way. Down bottom, there's imprinted in the coral is his citizenship number when he got it, so nobody would bother him when they come up to check his citizenship. What a shitty way to live back in 1917. But anyway, you come up the steps here, and then his bed was hanging this way. And then right above where he had his head, there was a hole in the roof with 2 wires as crosshairs. And the crosshairs is what he would stare up out there. And so he knew when he was coming into different sessions and seasons and just laying in bed and looking. And then over here was his cooking stuff upstairs. But he had a hammock hanging right here. It was off the ground. And also because of ants, he hung where his bread box was and all that, which is pretty cool. But this goes to show you that his head was always facing south. Has to be this way. Well, let's see. In Coral Castle, this would be north, this would be south. So let's see what the heck's really going on here. So I'm in positioning in my shop where Ed's stuff would have been. Only because I know the ocean's that way. That's east. And in an angle east. And west is on an angle here. So if they're showing north this way, then Ed's right there. So when I walk up the steps and Ed's head is here, his head is facing north, his feet are facing south. So there you go. So the flow of your aura of your spinal cord, your head should be facing north in your bed when you sleep. I'm going to check that tonight. Well, guys, leave your comments. I kind of bumped into this a couple times, but if you really want to know the true magnetic north and south in your shop, your location, you can. And we are excited about messing with some of these rods here. So the interesting thing to me is when I busted open that pack, they knew how many Henrys that each one of these adds up to. Each one's like a little avenue. Same the way the computers um, started giving, two highways of information instead of one. Then there were four highways. And then finally they figured out, the more direct, long information runs you have, the more efficient you'll be. And these all together, we'll do a video on the Henrys of your induction, and we'll do a video. The same video will be based on, what's a Henry, and from there we'll actually show. I'll break out my oscilloscope, and we'll throw a AC wave through a few of these, right? And we'll see what we get, and then we'll add more to it and see what happens to the wave as the induction gets greater. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We do have here in the US of A Labor Day. So it's a long weekend for us. I plan on digging deep into finishing off the project. Thank you very much.